Hey, welcome back to Homestead HQ, where we talk about homesteading and preparedness. This is Shelly.
And I'm Jason. Welcome to the podcast, episode 4. Let's get into this. Before we start, our first sponsor of the day is VacMaster. You can go to VacMaster.com. They make commercial chamber sealers. I've got one of those. I went out and found them and asked them to be a sponsor of the show. We've got an affiliate link down in the show description. Use that and the code Homestead, and you can get 15% off your whole order there. Moving in, Homestead happenings. Shelly, what have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Oh my gosh. Trying to get my, I'm actually still trying to get Tromboncino in the ground. Yeah, so we had the guy that bush hogs for us. We had him till up some of our pasture that we planted a bunch of pumpkins. Because just FYI, if you're raising any kind of animals, pumpkin seeds are great wormers. So last year, Randy found a pumpkin patch that they were, they sell their pumpkins during the season, pumpkin season, I guess. And then after that, before they till their fields, they're like, if you just want to come up and load up with pumpkins, you can do that. So we went 2 times and loaded up our truck full of pumpkins, brought them back and fed our pigs on those for, I don't know, a good month, probably, month and a half. Pumpkin seeds are great wormers. So this year we saved a bunch of those pumpkin seeds and planted our own pumpkin patch. So that's growing right now, but I still haven't got my Tromboncinos, which we feed those to the pigs too. I haven't got those in the ground. So I'm hoping I still have enough growing days this season to get them growing.
Wow. I hadn't done a ton. I've been busy at work trying to get caught up on jobs. New jobs are coming in, stuff like that. The other day, Brian and Susan were in town teaching a ham radio class, and I'm a volunteer examiner to give ham radio tests. So they're like, hey, can you come over Friday part of the day and then Saturday part of the day? And I was like, yeah, so you need 3 people to do the test. So I was there to help them. I met some pretty cool people, got to talk about a lot of preparedness stuff and homesteading, made a couple good connections. There's a guy that actually raises blueberries, and he's got a nursery. So I'm going to go out to his place this fall, early winter, and buy a bunch more blueberry plants to put those in the ground. So that's that, and then just basic stuff around the homestead. I mean, moving animals, feeding them, fixing little pieces of fence, stuff like that. That's about all I've been up to, really, on the homestead part of it.
Good deal.
So what have you got for news? I do not know. Shelly is our news broadcaster, and she comes up with a couple news stories. Some of them might be serious, some of them might be stupid or funny, and we're just going to see. So what's the
first one that I have, it says 3 Colorado poultry workers test presumptively positive for bird flu. It says the 3 workers from a farm in northeast Colorado are suspected to have contracted bird flu. They tested positive for H5N1, also known as avian influenza, while working at a commercial egg layer operation, the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment said in a statement. What do you think about that?
That means they're just going to kill more birds, is what it means. I mean, that...
Yeah, the article says they were culling poultry at the farm when they showed mild symptoms, including pink eye and common respiratory infections.
The people or the birds?
They were culling poultry.
Well, no, I mean, did the birds...
Oh, I'm guessing the people.
Did the people have pink eye? Honestly,
I didn't know you got pink eye from avian influenza.
I didn't know that either. I thought that was a whole separate deal.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The whole thing is contrived to me, honestly.
Because it's like they use this to kill a bunch of chickens and reduce the amount of food, raise the price of chicken at the grocery store, all of that stuff. It all just seems...
It does. It like all seems
contrived
to me. And then the people that I've seen that quote have, avian flu, they're sick for a couple days and stay home. It's not like you've got freaking Ebola and where you're bleeding out your orifices and all that kind of stuff. It's like you got a freaking cold. Go on about it. I mean, and then the whole thing about it used to be when you got sick, you would get sick and you would build up immunity to it.
Yeah.
They're doing the exact opposite. If these birds technically, by their standards, have bird flu, let the strong ones survive. The ones that die, and then those birds are not going to have the bird flu again. Right. They're going to build up immunity, but it's like, no, let's just kill everybody. Just a whole scorched earth deal, which is totally against really what you should be doing.
You think that you would be creating a resistant animal. Survival of the fittest, right?
But they're looking out for our best interest, though.
Oh, that's what we hear all the time.
Yes. We're here from the government to help.
Wasn't it Reagan that said, that's the phrase that you never trust?
Yeah, the 5 words that you don't want to hear.
Right. My other article,
I can't wait to hear
kind of funny. A man was caught smuggling 100 snakes in his trousers.
Where was this?
It says a man tried to smuggle more than 100 live snakes into mainland China by stuffing them in his trousers, according to customs officials. The unnamed traveler was stopped after passing through the Nothing to Declare gate at the crossing between semi-autonomous Hong Kong and the city of Shenzhen, officials said. Upon inspection, he had 104 snakes in 6 canvas drawstring bags inside his trousers. Each bag was found to contain living snakes in all shapes, sizes, and colors.
I'd have a hell of a lot to declare if I had 100 snakes in my pants. That's for sure. What? I don't what would possess somebody to put 100 snakes in their pants? Regardless of whether they're in bags or not. No.
You had to see him standing there and stuff moving under his pants.
It's like your pants are squirming and stuff. I mean, that.
I don't know.
They'd have to be some high-dollar snakes.
It said they were mostly small, but it is a large and squirmy haul of slithering reptiles for anyone to carry in their trousers.
Well, I mean, you're not going to fit an anaconda in your pants.
Oh, my God. There's a picture on here. It's got ooh. Y'all need to Google this and check it out.
It's not a picture of his pants either. It's a picture of snakes. So, all right. Only in China would stuff like this happen. The local meth heads are not smuggling snakes here.
I don't know if it's only China, but whatever.
Now that we've talked about snakes. All right. Another, we're going to move into the main topic, but before we get there, Signature Solar is one of our sponsors for the show. Look up their stuff. It's signaturesolar.com. We got an affiliate link down below. You can use it. Sometimes they've got some great coupon codes that are working. But honestly, with their prices on solar stuff, I've looked at it, and their prices are amazing. I've got some of their products actually coming right now that we're going to put in the greenhouse. We're going to do a 12-volt water pump. We're going to do a lithium battery and a solar panel so I can run all my watering system and water everything in the greenhouse. So their guys are planning it out for me. I told them what I needed. They're getting everything together, and they're going to ship it up here. And once I get to that stage in the greenhouse, we're going to show that on YouTube and get it in there. But we've got an affiliate link down there for Signature Solar. Go check them out. And now on to the main topic. Shelly, you want to tell them what the main topic is and then run with it? Or do you want me to run with it today?
You can run with it.
All right. Tell us what the main topic is.
So the main topic today is homesteading with a 9 to 5. Or as Randy pointed out earlier, it's a 7 to 4 for me, or a 6 to 6 for him, or whatever you want to call it, but having a job.
And mine's a when I show up to when I leave. So... All right. Well, honestly, it might be better to start with Shelly, but we'll start with me. I'm a general contractor. I work for myself. So if I only want to work 2 hours in a day, I'll piss the homeowner off and just work 2 hours a day. So, but then also no money comes in. So, but I've got a full-time job. I get kidded sometimes. Shelly and I kid. It's like Shelly's got a real job and I've got like a fake job kind of thing because I don't have to show up at 9 and leave at 5. But both of us do have full-time jobs. both of us homestead. It's kind of a balance on a lot of it. There are days where I'm working and I enjoy what I do contracting wise, but there are days it's like I would rather be at my place working on the greenhouse, cutting trees, doing something like that. Anything than other than laying tile or laying hardwood. But it's a balance. You've got to get your work done and then be able to come home. Now, a lot of the times when we're rotating animals, first thing in the morning, I'll get up, brush my teeth, get dressed for the day, go out and move the animals to a different lot and let them go in. Then get our gates and our fence closed back up, make sure everything's fine, make sure they've got water for the day, make sure the electric fence is on, everything's good, and then I scoot off on to work. And with mine, some days I get done earlier than other days, and there's some days I've got to stay late. But when I get home, usually I'll come in for a few minutes, check on everybody, make sure, see how their day was, and then I go out, make sure if we're moving animals across from a different piece of property, I'll wait until almost dark to do that because I want them to stay out there as long as I can. Because right now, if we're bringing them in there, we're bringing them in almost to a dry lot, and I don't want to feed a bunch of hay with them. But and then honestly, I come in and I'll do some YouTube stuff. I'll do some festival stuff. I spend quite a bit of time doing festival stuff. We'll call that the homesteading genre because it's all kind of related to the homestead. I think the festival is. I'll do that, and then usually Saturdays I'll work most of the day doing stuff, bigger projects, working on the greenhouse. I'll usually work on it on Saturday just because a lot of times with the greenhouse, I just don't want to get all the tools out just to work for an hour or two.
Right.
And usually I've got a bunch of other stuff to do, smaller projects I can work on then. But then typically Sunday after church, I'll do a few things. A lot of times on Sunday, though, I'll spend hanging out with the family and stuff like that. In summertime, I can get a lot more done in summertime because we don't have baseball and stuff like that. And then, of course, the kids are out of school. So it's not, my youngest one's not going to bed at 8 o'clock. He'll stay up till 10 o'clock. So I don't feel as bad if I come in at 7:30 or 8 o'clock. It's still like, hey, I got a couple hours to hang out with you before you're zoned out and asleep.
Yeah.
So that's usually how I handle it. It's a balance. You've got to balance, what you're doing and stuff like that. Shelly, kind of how do you balance it with your real job?
With my real job,
Yeah.
Because I really have to be at work at 7 every morning. I get off at 4. And Randy actually works 12-hour days, so he kind of does that swing shift kind of thing. I start my day out at 4:30 in the morning. And
I'm still asleep.
So, and that's because, where I work, it takes me about 25 minutes to get to work. So, I'll get up and go out and feed and everything. And then, come in and get my shower and everything, get ready for work and go to work. Randy works so I'm at work during the day and Randy's at work at night. So in the afternoon, when it's time to feed and take care of animals and stuff like that, he does that in the afternoon before he goes to work. So it kind of works out well that way because it seems like most of the time throughout the day, somebody's at home, in case something happens or whatever. But, the thing about working a job and homesteading, you have to try to anticipate what's going to happen. And what I mean by that is at the end of January, Randy had knee replacement surgery. So he was going to be out of commission for 6 to 8 weeks or however long that was. We made sure, him and I went out and we looked at, okay, we've got this project going on and that project going on. And so the weeks heading up, like in January, the weeks heading up to that surgery, we got a lot of big stuff done that I couldn't do by myself. Yeah. So we made sure that, everything was good because we have like a whole watering system for our pigs. We made sure everything was good with that. We made sure fencing was good. We made sure, that there wasn't any major things. So when he had his surgery and I was having to take care of the animals both times throughout the day and all of that stuff, it was basic feeding. Kind of like what you would leave if you went on vacation, you would leave for somebody to come and take care of your farm. So, you need to anticipate stuff like that. You also do not need to, like in the last episode, we talked about not, overwhelming yourself with a lot of stuff. If you work a job, you need to make sure that whatever you're bringing on, whether you're bringing on a whole herd of cows or 20 sheep, or you got a whole big pig production or whatever, you need to make sure that whatever it is you're doing, that you're still able to work your job, because obviously, I work my job because I have bills to pay, and I'm not to the point where my homestead pays those bills. So, I can't do something, we don't raise cash crops and stuff like that. I can't do something that's so big that I can't maintain it and still work my job. You have to take that stuff into consideration and make sure, because there's no way, there's nothing that will burn you out quicker than being overwhelmed by the stuff at your homestead and having to work and, all that kind of stuff. It's, you got to have a balance.
Yeah, and you can get too much. I mean, if you've got too much stuff to do, if you're going in and doing your 9 to 5 and you're spending, all the rest until dark every day, I mean, you're going to burn out quick. I mean, you ought to scale it back a little bit. But now some people do it. I mean, some people will go to their 9 to 5 and then they're going on and on and on, hours and hours and hours. I don't understand how they do it. I mean, I do a lot of stuff like that. I mean, but now there's days where, yes, I'll be out here till after dark doing stuff, but it's not an everyday thing.
So Jason and I both live in rural Kentucky, and the place where I work, it's a manufacturing facility. The people who work in the office work 7 to 4. The guys and gals who work in production work 6 to 2:30. And they were given the option to do the 7 to 4 shift if they wanted to. They, for the most part, opted not to, because a big part of our production population are farmers.
Yeah.
And so being able to get off at 2:30, they're able to go home and work quite a bit on their farm in the afternoon and get stuff done that they need to do. So I kind of feel like this is sounding a little discouraging or whatever. It's not discouraging. I don't want to be discouraging. Randy and I put a lot of, it's important to us to be food independent. Yeah. And you have to figure out what it is that you want and what's important to you. And because of that, I mean, even at our age, there's still, we figured out a way to water our pigs and use gutters and rain catchment and all that kind of stuff, because we want to make as many systems on our homestead work itself, kind of thing. So when we're implementing things, I'm looking at it going, okay, I'm 54 now. Am I going to be able to do this when I'm 64?
Yeah.
Am I going to be able to take care of this particular animal in 10 years and 15 years? How can I make this system work for me? And it's not a matter of being lazy. It's a matter of being efficient.
Yeah.
And so you think about those things. If you make your job hard, if you make your homestead hard, if you don't set up your systems or your zones correctly and make it a lot of work, it won't be enjoyable. You'll get burnt out. It won't be easy to do it. It won't be sustainable.
Yeah.
It's important to understand what your limitations are.
Yeah, and setting everything up is one of the big key things. Instead of running over here and running there, and then I got to grab this and then come all the way back here, setting up your zone, setting it up for efficiency. I've got a flock of sheep. I've got 2 cows. We've got our pigs and the chickens, and then the dogs. If I come home and I don't have to fill up the big water tank, but usually I'll just top it off ever so often. Usually it stays fairly full. But I can do all that in under 45 minutes. And it's all about being, and that's even moving my animals. And you've seen it. If I'm moving my animals across from the neighbor's property across the driveway, that as long as Ginger is not too stubborn, I can get everything done in 45 minutes. So there's no reason. I've seen people, it's like, oh yeah, well I got to take like 3 hours to feed. It's like, what in the world are you feeding? You know, it's 3 hours to do this. I'm like, are you feeding, you know, troughs up with a solo cup or what? It's like, I come in. The hardest part about doing it all though is remember to turn the water off. So I have done that before and got a massive water bill. One time I was filling the sheep's water up and forgot all about it, and came back down the next morning and I'm like, oh crap, I left the water on all night.
Wow.
It was a massive water bill. But now I tell you what I do. I grab my phone, and I know from about start to finish how long it'll take to fill that tank up. So I set an alarm on my phone. Like,
so when it goes off, you know to go turn it off.
Yeah. So like the small sheep tank takes about 7 minutes to fill up if it's empty. So I can look at it and be like, you know, it's close to empty. I'll set it for 7 minutes. And that alarm reminds me, it's like, I need to go check the water. And I have yet to leave the water on after doing that. So it's doing stuff like that, because I can come down, I make sure water troughs are filled first, turn all your water on, get it going, and then you've got time to do your other stuff. Like with the pigs, I've got, you know, a setup similar to yours. They're out of an IBC tote with a nipple on it, and it's a 330-gallon IBC tote. I only have to stretch that hose down there and fill it up ever so often.
Right.
And so it's not an everyday thing, you know, taking a 5-gallon bucket and filling up a little bitty trough. The chicken.
Well, and zoning's important.
Yeah.
Having your, and when we're talking about zoning, we're talking about permaculture zones, but like your zone 1 is, your zone 0 is your house. Your zone 1 is around your house, the things that you see, that you put your eyes on every day.
You walk by every day.
And if you make sure that the access to those animals is in that zone 1, that just makes it easier.
Yeah. I mean, literally my chicken coop and chicken run are right by where I park my truck.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen where I park my truck pretty much every day. So when I get out of the vehicle in the afternoon, I'm looking at the chickens if they need something. In the morning when I'm walking out there, I'm looking to see if something's going on with the chickens. And the sheep, the stupid sheep, once they hear you open the back door, they're like, bah! They know when you're out there. It's the craziest thing they can hear. Unbelievable. Do yours do that one?
They haven't done much of that.
Oh, my gosh.
They do if they're like bothered by something, but they haven't done a much. No, I haven't heard them much.
Oh, they
kind of expected more.
They can hear me come out the back door and they're just like, bah, bah. And I'm like, y'all don't need anything. And they just do it. Every time they hear a noise of me, they're just screaming out for me. So Shelly, how much time do you usually spend in the morning and the afternoon doing stuff?
I actually did a video that I put on our YouTube channel back when Randy was laid up in the house and couldn't get out. And I timed it. I took my camera around. It was still dark outside because it was cold. I want to say I did all of my feeding. So that's chickens, rabbits, and we've got chickens in 2 different places. There's a coop up by our house and there's a coop back by the barn. So that was chickens, rabbits, the chickens out by the barn, and feeding our pigs because we didn't have the sheep at the time. And I did it in like 13 minutes.
Yeah.
In the morning. And it's just because it's, you know, I go out my back door, the chickens are over here, the chickens and the rabbits. I have, a way that I feed and water them. I have a specific bucket that I then fill up with feed for the chickens that I carry to the back. And then I go to the barn and I get their stuff and I feed those pigs and just make a big loop and come back to the house. And I do it in 13 minutes. And Randy, the only animal that we feed twice a day is the pigs. Yeah. Because our chickens, not all of them free range, but about half of them do. So we give them feed in the morning and then they pretty much go around and find their own food the whole rest of the day. So the pigs get fed twice a day. So he'll go out and make sure the pigs get fed in the afternoon. And then if there's any, like if big waterers need to be filled up or something for the chickens, then he'll take care of that and do that kind of thing. It's I think it takes him maybe 10 or 15 minutes in the afternoon to do what he does, and no big deal.
Yeah. And I mean, it's totally doable having your full-time job and still having a homestead and getting everything done. I mean, it's like we said, a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, it takes me hours every day to do it. I'm like, what in the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
So, but, and then like your bigger.
Be efficient.
Yeah.
Set it up efficiently.
Yeah. And plan some stuff. Excuse me. Your bigger projects, do those on the weekends. And it might take you several weekends to get a project done. You know, it's taken me, honestly, I've had all kinds of stuff come up with getting this greenhouse done. I've just had all kinds of other crap, you know, happening and stuff we've got to get done beforehand.
Yeah.
But I'll spend, you know, every other Saturday, you know, kicking tail on that thing and trying to get it done.
This is another reason, though, why building community is important.
Yeah.
If you've got a big project, if you've got like 40 chickens that you need to process, or some pigs, or you need to build fence, or whatever it is, having community and just, you know, putting the call out and saying, hey, I've got this project going on. I could use some help. And is anybody available? And but, you know, you got to be willing to go help them, too.
Yeah, exactly. And plan your projects out. I mean, if you know Saturday you got a free day, plan that big project where you can knock a lick on it for sure and do it that way. That's about all I've got, honestly. I don't have any super great tips on 9 to 5. You just got to put your head down. And then, like with me, there's days where I'll get all my projects done at 1 o'clock, and I'm home by 1:30, and I'm like, I've got, you know, 3/4 of the day left to where I can do a bunch of stuff. Yeah. But then there's times where I'm not rolling in till 7 o'clock at night, and it's like, all I want to do is feed real quick and go in and eat dinner and take a shower. So you got any other great things?
Just, you know, like I said, be efficient. Set everything up as efficiently as possible. And another thing, have somebody else come and look at it. Yeah. You know, you might get someone else's perspective and then, you know, say if you move this over here, or doggone putting, you know, if you've got a couple different places that you have to feed, then get you some barrels, plastic barrels or metal trash cans or whatever, and set it where you need to feed them. Yeah. And that makes it easier. I mean, you might have to buy a couple bags of feed and carry it out there and fill up the can or whatever once a week or once every 2 weeks, but when you're, you know, having to get ready for work in the morning and all that, the closer that you can have those things to make that easier for you to do it in the morning, that's a bonus.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. And guys, if y'all got anything to add, I would like to hear your comments on stuff you can add, people that are doing this. Add your comments there. If you got any questions, shoot us some questions. You can email Shelly at Shelly@KentuckySustainableLiving.com. You can email me, Jason at KentuckySustainableLiving.com. Shoot us some questions. We'll answer those. We'll read some of your comments and stuff like that. And now, Homestead Tip of the Week is brought to you by Hickory Ridge Soap. Shelly, what's the tip of the week? I can't wait to hear.
Know your neighbor. It's important to build your community.
Even if you don't like the neighbor, do you have to know them?
So if you want to know how to build community, if that's a question that you have, do you know your neighbor? Do you know the person who lives next door to you, or on your road, or in your general area? Because if you have no interest in going and meeting that person, you don't really have any interest in building community, right?
Yeah, true.
The reason that you need to know your neighbor, you need to know the neighbors that are your good neighbors, and you need to know the ones that are crazy. Yeah. Because if something happens, you need to know. Yeah. You need to know who's potentially going to be a problem. Randy and I have lived in our house. We moved in 2021, so we're, a little over 3 years now. And the first winter that we were in our house, this is just a stupid story, but the first winter that we were in our house, our heat went out. And of course we were like, we just bought this house and the heat's out. We're going to have to pay all this and everything. When we moved into the house, there's all these like nozzles in the wall that were for gas, but it didn't have a gas stove. The furnace downstairs was what are those called? Heat pump. Yeah. And so we were like, and we'd had a house, our old house had a heat pump and everything. What we didn't know is that when it gets really super cold outside, heat pumps don't run very efficiently when it's really super cold. So when that happens, the house, our furnace had a backup gas heat.
Yeah.
We didn't know that. We didn't even know we had to have it turned on. There was a meter outside and everything, but we were too dumb to figure out that we needed to have gas turned on. So we're freaking out a little bit, trying to figure out why our house is so freezing cold. And I put on Facebook, I was like, we're sitting here in the freezing cold, say a prayer for us. We don't know what's going on with the heater or anything. And like, no joke, it was 15 minutes later, here comes the guy across the street, and we didn't even know them that well at the time. But me and his wife were Facebook friends. Here comes the guy across the street with a kerosene heater, and he was like, "We saw your Facebook post. Here's a heater."
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, they're great neighbors. They're just wonderful people. Anytime, even when we were moving in, they were having like a big party over at their house or something. A bunch of their kids were there, and their kids came over and they're like, "Can we help you with your boxes?" and started like helping us move boxes into the house.
That's cool.
So you need to know those neighbors that are helpful and everything, but you also need to know the neighbors that
are crazy.
Don't you have like a meth head out here or something?
I don't know if I went as far as meth head. He's a little odd. There's a few odd people on the street.
But you need to know.
Yeah.
Who the potential problems are going to be, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Asset or liability.
Right.
So, I know pretty much everybody on my street and most of the people that live around here. Of course, I've lived in this area my whole life.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, especially everybody up and down the street. I know everybody. It was kind of funny last night. We were coming in and there's all these cars parked on the side of the road. And it's a narrow road. And I knew exactly whose house it was. It was the sheriff's daughter. And I was like, we need to call the sheriff and be like, get these cars. They'd be like, all these cars are parked on the side of the road. It's hard to get through. And my wife's like, no, don't do it. I was like, but it would be funny as all get out for the sheriff's daughter to get the sheriff's deputy called on her. And she's like, don't do that. That's stupid. I'm like, but inside I'm laughing because I really want to do it. But yeah, know your neighbors and who lives around you. That's one of the biggest things. And it's like Shelley said, if you don't even know your neighbors, why do you want to know somebody, halfway across the state from you that might not be able to help you all the time? Your neighbors are going to help you out a lot more. I mean, my neighbor called me the other day when my cow and calf pair got out. He was like, hey, are these your cows? And I was like, yes, they are. And he was like, cool, I got them back going up your driveway for you. So, yeah. And if it wasn't for knowing him, who knows? I mean, who knows how long the cows would have been out? He's got my cell phone number. He gave me a call and told me. A bunch of my other neighbors, I know all of them, and most of them, some of them are useful, some of them aren't. I mean, I feel sorry for some of them, but whatever.
It's just important. You need to know if there's going to be a potential problem. And it's better to know now than when the problem arises, right?
Oh, exactly. So, all right. So the Homestead Tip of the Day, Tip of the Week, we've got that festival stuff. We have got our festival coming up October 26th and 27th, Bowling Green, Kentucky at the WKU Ag Expo Center. Guys, y'all don't want to miss this festival. This will be our third one. It has grown each time. We've gotten better speakers, better demonstrators, more vendors. This time we're going to try to fill the vendor area up. It's going to have anything you want to deal with homesteading and preparedness. We've got some super awesome sponsors this year. I'm not going to go into all of those because a few of them we're waiting to hear, but I do know that we are going to have in the raffle a gift certificate for a suppressor for a rifle. I can guarantee that. So that'll be one of the big raffle items that you want to come and check out and buy a raffle ticket to possibly take that thing home with you.
So to get notification about anything going on with the festival, go check out KentuckySustainableLiving.com. You can sign up for our newsletter there. Our newsletter is going to start coming out probably about twice a week between now and the festival. You can use coupon code email25 to get your tickets for $25 each. They're going to be $35 at the door. So up until the Friday before festival, if you use email code 20, why do I keep saying that? Coupon code email25, you can get your tickets for $25. 17 and under get in free, so you don't have to worry about paying for your kids. What else? Go to the Facebook page, Kentucky Sustainable Living, Homesteading, and Preparedness Festival. There's a page. That gets updated all the time with new speakers, sponsors, vendors, workshops, everything. You'll find that on the Facebook page. You can find it on KentuckySustainableLiving.com. That's where you're going to get all your information. So go sign up for the newsletter. Go get your tickets.
Yeah.
And
also we've got, it is August 24th. We have a radio workshop by Brian and Susan Dudley with S&B Homestead Radio. Mm-hmm. We're going to have that workshop in Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's going to be an emergency communications plan, how to come up with an emergency communications plan for your family or your mutual assistance group. It is going to be heavy on the hands-on aspect of it. You're not going to sit in there and learn radio theory and, taking your ham class and stuff like that. You're not going to be doing that. We're actually going to be putting radio antennas up, expedited radios. He's going to show you how to use these. The basics, the nuts and bolts, not the theory that everybody gets bored with, but nuts and bolts stuff, hands-on stuff. It's going to be an amazing class all day long. We're probably going to go out in vehicles and do a little bit of stuff in vehicle work to show you how far we can get out and stuff like that. So check that out. You can check it out at the website and get tickets and purchase those.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We appreciate it, and we will see you back next week. Bye.
God bless y'all. Bye.